Social media is one of the only businesses, if not the only one, that you can start up with zero startup costs, and if you lose, it's fine. If you want to black out on Twitch on a bottle of Jägermeister and pull your out on the stream, you can do that. I did that and I'm not banned, but
Josh Bryant, aka Cousin Crypto,
a 23-year-old live streamer and a social media virality expert,
the crypto genius who blew up on TikTok
with 6.3 million likes.
Social media is literally like entering in the lottery, except there is no entry fee and you get unlimited entries. Every time you post a piece of content, you are potentially setting yourself up to win the lottery. These dudes have had that network, they've had that generational wealth over generation. They don't lose it, and they don't lose it for a reason. You buy some course from some 17-year-old kid who trades in his basement and tells you he's the dirtiest trader you've ever come across. And if you get scammed, I don't really feel so bad for you. Take it as a lesson and learn. Like for me, Iman Gadzhi, like that should have been the biggest red flag ever when he said he was shutting down his business that he sold courses on. Who just shuts down a business that's doing numbers? Luke Bolmar talks out of his asshole as well. And he's talking how he bought Ethereum at $80 or whatever. The very, very low wick went to like $. I've been in crypto, you've been, it's physically impossible. I don't understand why people don't want to listen to the dudes that have controlled the wealth of the entire world for hundreds of years, but would rather listen to some internet kid. They'll make the argument, oh yeah, but times have changed.
It's because their life is boring.
That's what everyone tells me that's gonna happen to me, right? I'm 23, I live in Dubai, I'm Jack. I'd probably hate me too.
What's the best way today to make as much money as quickly as possible without scamming people?
I think that the greatest financial opportunity that we'll ever see in our generation is... Assalamu alaikum.
So, how are you doing, man?
Good, bro. Like I said, morning coffee, so it goes straight through me. Need to unload some fuel, but other than that, doing good.
We're recording this podcast from Dubai.
Bit of a mission to get here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a bit of a mission for a lot of things in this city.
Dubai's like road system and maps and everything. Like, 'cause I used to live here as a kid for a few years. I remember it being fucked back then. It's still fucked.
Completely. Like you're trying to go from one place to another, it should take like 5 minutes and you end up taking 30 minutes because the basically way to get there is...
You miss one exit, it's over. It's over. You know, you're driving an extra 20 minutes, like you say, you're adding that to your time. It's definitely one thing they got to work on. And the traffic is outrageous.
Especially the last few days. Like I've been here, like it's just, people say it's kind of a new season. Like I'm like, oh man. Like,
it's not even winter yet.
Yeah.
Imagine November, December. I don't want to be on the roads.
You don't want to be on the roads, or you don't want to be in Dubai?
I don't want to be on the roads. Maybe because it's the weather's good. You know, everything that's perfect. That's prime time in Dubai. That's why the traffic is so bad. But I hate traffic.
What do you think about Dubai in general?
So I mean, obviously, like there's like anywhere, you know, there's pros and cons, and like that's what I've learned, right? Is whether you live in the US, Africa, Dubai, like there's gonna be things you love, things you hate, but you got to find out what's like most important to you. So like for me, big crypto, Dubai is very crypto friendly. The US was not. Safety is a huge thing. Dubai is safe. Where I was living, Houston, Texas, was not. So of course there's like the whole side of like the flashiness and everything, and it's kind of like contradicting myself because, you know, I've got the watch, the cars, all that kind of stuff, but at the same time I feel like I wouldn't even have it if I didn't live in Dubai, because you feel that pressure here because it's so normal, you know what I mean? So I don't love that side of things, like, you know, the fakeness of it. You know, it's almost like, you know, everyone in designer, all that kind of stuff. So that's the one part that I don't like. But again, like when you look at it in terms of like what's important, you know, I'm 100% safe here. I can do what I love. You know, there's lots to do, the best gyms in the world. So for me, overall, definitely a great move. And of course, you know, they got the 0% tax versus in the US, you're paying 40% short-term capital gains. So for me, it's not a forever place, just a couple years, cash injection, network, you meet some really good people here. I've met more people like ballers in Dubai in the last like 6 months than I ever did in the US in 7 years. So that's something I think that is definitely a plus, because obviously, you know, your network is your net worth.
How much do you play the Dubai game actually? Even if it's kind of against your kind of South African you know, roots and values?
I don't play it, to be honest. I can't, because for me, like, my most important things are like morals and ethics, you know, especially being in the crypto game. I should have a net worth of 20 mil plus, you know, I should be 20 mil liquid, but like I have I can't be scamming like that, you know? So, and it's even here, like if you want to play the game, you got to be a bit of a dark horse, you know? Like you got to do things that you ain't willing to do. And like, I'm just not going to do that. Like even like I was talking to you the other day, I barely even like collab with people and stuff just because, yeah, it could benefit my personal brand, but I don't care enough to. Like, I'm not going to do it with someone that I don't like or something just to get those views, you know?
And you have to be very careful because, you know, we always say building a reputation takes 20 years and it takes 20 seconds to destroy. And in crypto, it's a freaking minefield. And in crypto, in Dubai, I would argue it's even worse because my question, like I was thinking about before, was crypto is great in Dubai, but how much is it attracting the wrong type of crypto people? Because of the kind of like great, I mean, we both know the answer, right?
Yeah, it's disgusting. I've met some of the biggest scammers I've ever come across, and I just want to punch them in the face. You know, they're like these like 20-year-old like stick figure little like nerd looking motherfuckers, and I'm just like, I know that they've rugged like 20, 30 mil plus, right? And they think they're the shit, and now they're with hot girls, and it's like just, it's disgusting. I absolutely hate it. People that don't deserve money when they've got money, I hate it with a passion. You know, you make it legitimately, you come up, even like there's plenty of people that I don't like, that I don't agree with, like their opinions and stuff, but they've made a living legitimately, even whether it be, you know, selling courses, because obviously courses are kind of controversial, but you know exactly what you're getting when you buy a course. You know, someone's going to teach you something. So you're not legitimately, I call it ethically scamming. So like, you know, there's a lot of people like that I don't agree with, but I respect it if they've made the hustle and they've done it legitimately. But the dudes like that I've met here, the meme coin guys, the NFT rug pullers, I just want to level them.
What do you think about this big trend in social media the last couple of years where you are actually selling the fact that you were so successful, and there's a bunch of people here who've done massively well. We both know them. People kind of like see them, it's almost like a cult, you know? Like, it's basically, the principle is I have a consulting agency or marketing agency, and it's probably doing decent, you know, but like we both know that a marketing agency or consulting agency is not very scalable. So the ceiling of how much you can earn every month is gonna be, there is a ceiling basically. It's not that much, you know, maybe a few tens of thousands or maybe 100,000, but like you're not going to retire off that in 3 years, right? So you are doing that, but then you're selling online on social media the fact that your life is amazing, you travel by jet, all these lifestyles that people love to see, right? But at the same time, you're kind of scamming them because you're accumulating followers, telling them that you got rich off this agency that you have, but then what you're actually doing is you're saying, I'm kind of anticipating the future, ethically scamming, or kind of really scamming people to then be able to sell them a course on how they can get the lifestyle that I have now, but that I don't really have now actually because I don't have it yet, but I'm selling you this because that's how I'm going to make my money off this course that I'm selling you. So you can also reach this financial freedom and have the jets and the planes and the mansions and the women.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I'm a firm believer in natural selection, right? So I have no problem with courses if they are going to actually provide some form of value, because obviously there are people out there that are going to sell you something for 500 that is worth tens of thousands, right? Like for me, example, I've been in the space for 7 years. If I put together a course for $500 and I teach you everything that I've learned, I show you the scams that have scammed me, and I ultimately save you a lot more than $500, nothing wrong with that. But going back on the natural selection, you know, you buy some course from some 17-year-old kid who trades in his basement and tells you he's the dirtiest trader you've ever come across. That's natural selection, and I don't really feel so bad for you, you know what I mean? So even again, bro, like, you know, Iman Gadzhi, he does absolute numbers, right? He's the king of courses. And some people are so delusional that they don't think he makes his money from courses.
It's just a course business.
He's gone and shut down his SaaS agency that he was making all his money from. He didn't make any money from that. It was all from the courses. But at the same time, look, I know when I see his content, he motivates a lot of young dudes. He gets a lot of dudes out of situations they can't get themselves out of. And so at the end of the day, like, I don't think he's scamming. And, you know, like, I respect it. So, like, that's the difference for me between dudes that are like ethically scamming versus just straight scamming. So if you're going to provide some form of value, I don't think courses are the problem. I think the problem is people over-promising, saying, I'm going to change your life with this course, like, you're never going to have to work again, blah, 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 and it's just bullshit, and there's nothing in it. So again, it's the same as like school. Like, you know, I'm paying in the US $50,000 a year in tuition for college, and I'm sitting in a lecture about business, and my dude pulls up on an electric scooter, for fuck's sakes, you know, like, and this dude's about to teach me how to make money. So what's the difference between paying that 50 G's a month versus paying $500 from someone who's already made money in the space that I want to go into? You know, you just got to work out, has this person made money from courses, or have they made money from legitimately doing something? So like me, for example, I've never had a paid group. I've never charged for any money. If I've ever taken promos or anything, I've disclosed it, and it hasn't been many. So like everything I've done since I've been on social media, free. So like you can't make that argument that I've made money from courses and all that, because I haven't done it, you know? So let's say I then did decide to pull up with a course. You now know that I've already made my money before that. So for me, you just got to work that out. Has this person made money from courses, or have they actually made money previously and now they're just doing courses?
How can people find this out?
It's fairly simple, you know. So now I've been in the game for a while. Whether it's crypto, stocks, forex, or just anything in general, once you've been on social media for a while, it's pretty easy to identify, right? Like you can just tell if someone is sitting there and all they're doing is selling you the dream. And you know, it's just big promises and Lambos and this and that, probably not legitimate. If they sit there and just drop knowledge after knowledge after knowledge, you just need to watch more than 10 minutes of their content to work out. So that's why I've said, you know, I'm a big believer in natural selection. And if you get scammed by some fucking idiot, take it as a lesson and learn, because whether you got scammed by that dude or you got mugged in the streets, you were destined to lose your money, you know?
Yeah, so basically, is this person trying to sell me something and being too insistent about it, or is this person like dropping shitload of information for free and saying, oh, by the way, if you want to know more, you can learn more. And
Exactly.
pay $50 a month or whatever, $500 for a one-off.
I mean, like for me, Iman Gadzhi, like that should have been the biggest red flag ever when he said he was shutting down his business that he sold courses on. Who on this planet just shuts down a successful business? You know, even if you don't want to do it anymore, you sell it. Who just shuts down a business that's doing numbers? That's crazy.
Yeah. For me, the big red flag was I was watching an interview that he did in December 2021, where he was saying at the freaking top of the previous bull run, he was saying, oh man, I made like, first you shout your net worth, like I made like 10 or 12 mil this year. I'm like, Second, I'm like, how did you make that? Oh, I invested 1 or 2 mil in this crypto thing, and then I leveraged myself on Nexo, right? So basically I used leverage. And then so basically it means you're over leveraged on crypto at the top of the bull run. And then the guy asks, where do you think we're at? Do you think it's still going up, or it's going to go down? He says, oh no, man, this shit is going to go up. Like this is just the beginning. And then, you know, like the dude got wrecked one way or another. And if he's still super successful, it means that the money must come from the courses, obviously.
Yes. Do you know Luke Belmar?
Yeah.
So Luke Belmar as well. Look,
that's an interesting one.
I like him a little less. Again, I respect him for what he's done, and he's clearly put up numbers, but Luke Belmar talks out of his asshole as well. He went on a podcast with Ahmed Mahmoud, and he's talking how he bought the bottom, the COVID crash, Ethereum at like $80 or whatever. Do you know what it wicked to? Like the very, very low wick went to like $80.
Yeah,
I went and checked.
I bought the bottom, luckily, and it was 1 and 110. Like I couldn't even get it lower.
So he sits there and he confidently says, I was buying $10,000 order blocks worth of Ethereum, literally at a wick low. So like that's, I've been in crypto, you've been, it's physically impossible.
If you understand the game, yeah, absolutely. Or you bought for example, me, I bought the absolute low, like at 110 of ETH, after getting wrecked 80% of my net worth on BitMEX that same day. So like the reason you feel like it's the low is because you're so destroyed yourself already. There's always a part of the story that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't understand online. It's because I feel like people really appreciate and love honesty, right? And they're gonna trust you much more. But like for some reason, these successful people, Iman or Luke, like they never talk about their losses. They never talk about like, oh man, no. For me, I was really lucky. You know, I feel like,
and so
that's
like
not possible.
Even for me, like, it doesn't mean that he's a full-blown scam or anything, but he means that he's talked out of his ass about one thing. What else is he talking out of his ass about? So now it's hard for me to look at him and believe anything that he says, you know what I mean? And then at the same time, he sells a $1,000 yearly membership and sells a $10,000 per an hour call. So is that where the funds are coming from? Good chance.
Most likely.
Good chance. So like, you know, you see all this stuff online, and again, it's very easy. You asking, how do you identify these people? Right there. Just go watch that podcast. Go check the price that it went to on the exchange. It's in the first 10 minutes of the podcast too.
I mean, but you need to have the context of the industry or the thing you are in, which is why so many people get sucked in and kind of like, I don't want to say scammed, but like they get sold very quickly because everybody wants to become rich overnight, right?
Yes.
That's why crypto is going to go up forever. There's going to be these cycles because people want to get rich overnight.
And the other thing that I believe with natural selection is all these people are looking at people like me, Iman, Luke, all these dudes in our early 20s, and they taking us like, you know, like word for word. Meanwhile, you got people like Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, you got the Rothschilds, dude, like they all publish books that talk publicly and no one gives a shit about them. I don't understand why people don't want to listen to the dudes that have been in power for hundreds of years, that have controlled the wealth of the entire world for hundreds of years, but would rather listen to some internet kid. And they'll make the argument, oh yeah, but times have changed. These dudes have had that they've had that generational wealth over generation. They don't lose it, and they don't lose it for a reason.
It's because their life is boring. It's because their life looks boring. And if you look at the most successful people on earth, people I interview, their life is boring. They say, my life is boring. I wake up in the morning, I go smash work. I don't go party all the time. I'm not with all these chicks that people are selling you online. This is not the lifestyle. It's not possible. My life has to be boring for me to be successful. Otherwise, I would not be successful.
Gotta say no to the hoes. You gotta say no to the hoes, bro. That's one thing I'm bad at is like...
How do you say no to the hoes in Dubai?
So it's like, there's a fine line, right? Like I've learned, like I just straight up, I work best when I'm not in a relationship, when I've got that tunnel vision. And as fucked up as it sounds, right? Like I'm a firm believer in being uncomfortable. You want to be uncomfortable. The second I'm in a relationship with a girl that I like, all hell breaks loose because now I'm comfortable. I have no problem just laying in bed and shagging all day. I'm not motivated to do extra stuff, but let's say, you know, I end that, or even better, she ends it with me. It doesn't happen very often, but now I've got the fire, you know, I've got the fuel. So it's like every time I end up finding myself in that situation, get a little bit comfortable, you just got to snap it off, and you have to say no, because the way I look at it, right, I'm 23. That's still so young on the spectrum. Anything for me, like men, we mature, like we're fine wine, right? We just get better and better with the years that come. So I'm looking at it at 23. I'm like, dude, even if I don't hit it big time in my head, my definition of big time, for like 10 years, I'm good. Like there's no point. A lot of people have that fear of missing out, right? They want to go to college, they want to get drunk. I've done both. I've lived both lives. So for me, going to college, getting blackout in a basement that costs fucking nothing, there's no AC, the girls have got STDs, versus waiting, grinding your ass off, and then partying on a $20 million yacht in Dubai with Ukrainian and Russian models is worth the wait. It's worth the grind.
Do you think this will make you any happier than the girls in the basement with the STDs?
100%.
Why?
It's just...
Or do you think it's the dream that you're being sold? But actually you're going to realize, man, at some point, maybe it's because you're super young still, but like the happiness comes from simple things. And I want, especially with your South African, you know, values that you told me that you have, like these very respectful values that are completely different from Dubai and from what you've seen in the US. Probably you'll go through all these phases.
Yes.
I've been through them too. And then I was like, kind of like, you get lost there too. And you realize, man, happiness comes from having a mission, as you said, working and struggling towards that mission and never actually getting to my goal. And the day I get to my goal, it's kind of over. What the fuck do I do with my life?
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of days ago, we're releasing in a few days, Jordi Alexander, who made like shitload of money, is like one of the big crypto figures. And he talked about the fact that you don't want to make your wealth too fast. Because if you make it too fast, you're basically lost. And what do you do afterwards? And then you have all these things like imposter syndrome that come along that we never thought would exist, but like I think we both experienced already.
Yes. No, so I do 100% agree with you. I don't think that that's like, because that's what people think, they're going to get that and then they set. It's definitely not the case. You're not going to be set when you got hoes on a boat in Dubai. But it is better than the hose in a basement with STDs. So like it's you know, it's not like, it's definitely, I agree with you, happiness comes from the small things. It comes from your drive, your mission, your passion. And we even spoke about this the other day. I definitely had imposter syndrome and I definitely felt lost when I got to where I wanted. Like I never expected, right? You got like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I'm living in a frat house with 4 other dudes and, you know, the basement stories and all that. So I go from that to making the money that I did in the span of like a few months, a year, even though I'd been grinding on this since 2016. I made my money very quick and very fast, and it was more money than I ever thought I was gonna make. So now for like 6 months, I find myself lost. I don't do anything. And as like a 21-year-old at the time, 22, like that's not how life should be at all. So for me, that's definitely, you know, it's life, you're never gonna really figure it out. Like I see a lot of older people talking, you know, they're 35, 40, and they're still like, you know, I'm still figuring shit out. So for me, you gotta try and not put too much emphasis on that. You just gotta have a mission, a goal, and then just keep driving and just work it out, because you never know where it's gonna go.
People make a lot, you know, when you make a lot of money, especially quickly, like it's kind of, I won't say it's easy, right? Because it's often like you prepare for a few years. We always say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And there's pretty much no better way than your story. You know, social media, and then in fitness, and then moving into crypto, and then being in a bull run, and then it happens. But like actually this wealth comes from like all this preparation you've put in and all this work you put in before, right? It's kind of, the easy part is actually to make the money, but to keep it is hard. How did you manage that? Or how good were you at that?
My biggest fear is being average. That is my biggest fear, hands down. It outweighs any fear that I have. And so because I've always got that in the back of my mind, like that's what keeps me awake at night, is like I haven't achieved enough. Same thing before, I'm always looking at the bigger picture. So although now, you know, especially someone my age, like I see that kind of money, yeah, I could have gone and got a Mansuri Urus and bought a house and just pop bottles at the club. But for me, I'm so fearful, like I'm almost stingy. You know, like I need for me to spend that kind of money, I need 50 mil plus. Like I went and bought my dream car, bought an apartment, and that was it. Like I only spent what I could I knew in the back of my head I can 100% afford to spend, because the last thing I'd ever want is going broke, especially because that's what everyone tells me that's gonna happen to me, right? All these dudes online, they hate it, you know? I'd probably hate me too. I'm 23, I live in Dubai, I'm jacked. I'm on boats with the hoes. I'd probably be mad as well. So they will, you know, a lot of people prey on my downfall. So I'm like, you know, whatever it takes, I will prove you wrong.
How do you date in Dubai if you're stingy?
Well, that's
Tell me about the dating game in Dubai, because it's an
Riz, bro.
one.
You just need a little bit of Riz and make these hoes laugh, because especially here, your competition is so slim. Like you're competing with dudes with money, but you're competing with bums. Like at deep down, like they are bums. You know what I mean? So yeah, they think they like that. But wait till they find like a normal person that can talk to them, that can make them laugh. Then they love that.
Absolutely. Back to the basics.
Yeah, back to the basics. I'm telling you, bro, don't ever compromise yourself for someone else. So like, I mean, in Dubai, I end up finding girls from like other places that come to Dubai. The girls that are here, like
you import them.
Exactly,
yeah,
bro.
That's the classic thing I talk about with all my friends here, or even in Singapore. It's like, oh man, like the best way is to import actually.
Yes.
So you don't get into this like weird game where like women are basically way too spoiled, and the whole game is kind of fucked up, because as much as women who would have sex directly would kind of lower the price of sex, right? For all the other women, these dudes who are like kind of simps and will overpay and offer some fucking bags or whatever, Cartier bracelet to these women, they're basically lowering the value of what being an actual man is by doing that.
Yes.
And women, they think that's
normal.
If I can get this stuff, like why would I not get it? And we would probably do the same if we were women.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think it's the woman's fault. I think it's the men's fault. Like especially here again, these dudes have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. You know, maybe if I was them as well, and like $5,000 was like shekels to me, maybe I'd do the same thing. You know, I don't know. But for me, it's like I can't it's the most. I hate that. I absolutely hate it with a passion. And because like I'm so open about it, you know, I'm telling them, I ain't paying for shit, dog. Like I'm not doing any of this. I think they almost somewhat respect it, because also they've never been told that, you know, like especially a lot of the girls, they've never been told, oh, I'm not gonna get you an Uber to come meet me, this and that, you know. So I don't know, it works for me somehow. It's the accent or it's something, but
accent, the testosterone, and the fact that you look
something, you know,
you look confident.
Something, it ends up working. But for me, it's not my main focus though. Of course, now, like I was saying, I just want to build next few years, just completely build, so that, Because also another fear of mine is I don't want to be 70 years old with my nutsack hanging on my ankle playing golf. Like that doesn't sound like fun either. So, you know, I want to be young with my money, having fun, and especially with, you know, friends and family. So for me, I'm not too stressed about short term, missing out on the fun, missing out on anything, because it will come back.
What do you recommend to all the dudes out there who are in their early 20s and actually think the same way as you, and actually the same way as I've always been thinking, which is I don't want to make all this wealth or money when I'm old, because I'm not going to be really able to kind of make benefit of it and kind of use and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. What's the best way today to make as much money as quickly as possible without scamming people?
I think that the greatest financial opportunity that we'll ever see in our generation is going to be with crypto, 110%. And the fact that so many people have written it off just adds more and more confluence to what I believe. So again, people think that it's over, but we just move in cycles, right? That's how it is. And I truly do believe that the fiat system will collapse. So even when Bitcoin goes to hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not going to be worth all that because fiat currency is going to be so inflated and all that. So I still think though with altcoins, of course, you know, it's also a lot of high risk, but that's how this works. If you are not willing to sacrifice money to make some, you're never going to make it. So for me, I genuinely think that crypto is the best opportunity that we will see for a while. And even on top of that, it's 2023. Money has never been easier to make. Like, for example, you go and grab a long formatted clip from the internet like Mr. Beast. You go copy and paste it into an AI website. It chops up the clips for you, gives it to you. Boom, you put that in your account. You're in America now. You can join the creative beta program where they're now paying big on TikTok. You get a few million views of video, which is going to happen because it's Mr. Beast. Boom.
So just making content of other people's content, even if it's not like super ethical, like there is so much money to be made by being very efficient, right?
I see like these young dudes that are they're probably sub 20 years old. They make 6 figures every month doing those Snapchat things, like the, you know, like rolling a ball into glass and just like the stuff that like retards watch, you know what I mean? Like the stuff that like people that have got nothing better to do, you know, they sit there and they hooked at 1 a.m. watching these videos. Dude, those kids are banking 6 figures a month. Like the amount of opportunities is absolutely ridiculous.
I have 2 questions related to that.
Yeah.
Let's take them one after the other. The first one is crypto related, and then we'll go to like monetization, right? What's the real game in crypto today to make money? What should people understand about the actual game?
So this is some real sauce, but one of the best ways to make money is ICOs and IDOs. Now, I've been trying to get on ICOs since 2017. And 2017, I wasn't a social media figure or anything, so it was a lot harder to get allocation. So again, my biggest fear is being average. Even though I feared the camera as well, I said, no, fuck this. It's worth it if I can get allocation, if I can do all this stuff. So boom, get on social media. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. Especially in the crypto space, our competition is so narrow. No one is doxxed. The people that are doxxed are fat as fuck. Like it's an easy niche to grow into, right?
To inspire people is not that hard actually.
No.
Because no one is really an inspiration. That's true.
Everyone's a scammer. So like for me, it's like crazy. So I would then, you know, I would try and build a social media presence, even if it's through AI clips, whatever. If you've got followers, if you can bring some form of value to the table, you will get allocations. But regardless of that, you can still get allocations, just not enough. So I think ICOs, IDOs, you get 1 or 2 of the right ones, you're going to change your life forever. You're going to 100x your investment, 200x, unbelievable. The next thing is just being early to trends, right? So you have certain trends that go off, AI, meme coins, whatever. That's something that people don't talk enough about in crypto. You could buy the best project out there. If you are late, you're fucked. You got no hope. You got absolutely no hope. So like some of the best things I look for in the bull market is a solid product with a team that is already known, that has created projects before, and very key aspect, they are doing paid marketing. They're gonna pay these broke influencers to pump the shit out of it. That does not work in a bear market though, because what happens when you are paying these influencers in a bear market, they're getting a shitload of tokens. There's not enough liquidity driving the price up. They're dumping their tokens. And ultimately, if the bull market doesn't come around in time, that project will never take off. So you definitely don't want to be doing that in a bear market, but like in a bull market, like a paid marketing, like that is absolute money.
But if I recap that, because I was thinking like something similar, if I recap that, the actual ideal case is you build some sort of influence so you can get some allocations.
Yes.
And either you actually pay for the allocation, right? Either you're kind of being given some tokens or equity as an advisor because they know that you have a network or a following, right? And probably now, when no one gives a fuck about crypto, is the moment to actually look at that. Because if you buy these tokens too late in a bull market, even if the project is good, just because the timing is bad, and there is vesting on these tokens, which means that you receive this token every, after 3 or 6 months, and then every month like a certain amount of tokens, you actually could have almost everything right, but the timing, and still get fucked, right?
Timing is everything in crypto. It is quite literally what will make or break you. So, but definitely, I think that if there's, just to summarize that, gain some form of social media presence so that you can add value to the table. Don't be a victim and think it's unfair that the influencers get allocation and you don't. We get allocation because we provide some form of value. We bring value to the table. We can bring clients to them. So just do the same. People want to dunk on influencers. Fuck this, they get that. Do the same.
It's jealousy. Yeah.
Just do the same. So I think that would be probably the best way to make money in crypto. It's going to give you the best advantage.
What would you recommend to someone who's been thinking about kind of being a producer of content or creator instead of just being like the bottom 99% of people who are consuming, but are still kind of struggling at the idea of, I was like that for years because of my Swiss values, don't like showing up too much or like talking about, you don't have to talk about numbers or like net worth, right? Obviously that's what people like the most. So it's kind of challenging, but people who are still kind of stuck at, man, I really think I have a good message out there, but like I feel it's wrong to just like show my face there and like just start to talk as if I know shit when literally no one knows shit, especially in this industry.
Social media is literally like entering in the lottery, except there is no entry fee and you get unlimited entries. Every time you post a piece of content, you are potentially setting yourself up to win the lottery, to go mega viral, and your life will never be the same. Like I spoke about this, but the most recent example, this girl on TikTok called Tube Girl, started recording herself in like the subway in the UK. Within a week, she's now partnered up with MAC, which is one of the biggest cosmetic brands. She's at Vogue Fashion Week. She's got all the biggest brands, Coach, Dove, all in her comments. She's doing interviews on BBC. So it's like, if that's not enough proof to take the leap of faith, like I don't really know what is. Because at the end of the day too, social media is one of the only businesses, if not the only one, that you can start up with zero startup costs, and if you lose, it's fine. There's no downside to starting social media. If it doesn't work, you're in the exact same position that you were before. If it does work, you're never gonna have to work another day in your life, and you'll become your own boss, and you just post content for free. And you find a way to make your personality strong and out there. All you have to do for a living is be yourself. So for me, the leap of faith is so worth it, it's unbelievable. And I'm sorry, just to add on, you're talking about it's hard because of numbers, this and that. The beauty with social media is there is no blueprint. There is no requirements. You can do whatever you want. You find a way to post your content where you don't have to post your numbers. You don't have to talk about that shit. I don't do it. You know what I mean? People can see that by the way that I live, the things I do, they know that I have money. I'm not out here yapping about how much money I've got, and you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to black out on Twitch on a bottle of Jägermeister and pull your nuts out on the stream, you can do that. I did that, and I'm not banned, but I did that,
So you start social media, right? And then maybe one video or two blow up. But actually, there is a way to become, to go viral frequently.
Yeah.
And that's what Mr. Beast really understood. He actually said, I started a new account without my face, without my voice. I could get to 20 or 50 million subscribers on YouTube within 6 months because I understand exactly how the game and the algorithm works, right? What's your kind of framework? Because you've been really good at that, virality, first on with fitness on TikTok and then crypto, Twitter. Obviously you do things very naturally, but there's probably a few things that every time you build some content, you're like, I should have these 3 or 4 things in there so it's more likely to go viral.
People think I'm retarded, but like I do shit in a specific way so that it does go viral, right? I just have no desire to impress people, so I don't care what people think of me. But there's of course certain ways to go about it. So like for me on TikTok specifically, that is where the brain cells have shrunk the most. That is where, people their attention spans are in the toilet. So those first 3 seconds of that video are crucial. started off with something like, you know, I hate fat people, or this is the best opportunity you're ever going to have. Like, it's got to be a hook. It's got to be a strong hook. You started off with that. Now you finally got people interested. There's certain things, again, you know, you fuck with people's emotions, right? You tell them things that they want to hear. You tell them things that they don't want to hear.
For example, give me 2 examples that they want to hear and they don't want to hear.
For example, you know, like, greatest opportunity of our lifetime is upon us. You know, if you play this correctly, you are going to be set for life. That's all that people want. Something that people don't want to hear, you're fat as fuck and it's ruining your life. You know, and then go into a video about how that's doing that. So that hook is very important. Again, like thumbnails, clickbait, all that kind of stuff is important as well.
Absolutely.
And then now, especially with people doing it, but mass producing your content is important, right? So having multiple different accounts, having multiple different editors, and posting it preferably all over the world. You know, you get different SIM cards posted, boom, boom, boom. And so, like, for me though, when I first started, when I was doing the best numbers was when I had no idea what I was doing. I genuinely just started posting whatever I liked and like what I thought was going to be cool. And so, like you were saying, you know, people are so full of shit online. I think that was like refreshing for a lot of people to see, was that, oh, like, this dude's like me. So relatability is actually a huge part of going viral. If you are relatable, people are going to watch you and think, oh, this dude's just like me. I can do what he's done. So being relatable, definitely as well. That was almost something I missed. That is up there with something that I would recommend doing for sure.
You said that, especially on TikTok, right? People are kind of retarded.
Yes.
And like, I can see it with what go viral on our podcast, like, and the comments of the people, I'm like, and how crazy people are. And like, they attack the guest or they attack me. And I'm like, it's cool, it gets views, right? But that's not enough. There's a lot of people out there who have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers and don't make that much money. Mm-hmm. How do you turn retardedness into actual money?
So for me, the most important thing is adding some form of value, providing some form of value to someone's life. Because if you do that, you're going to build a cult following. You can see these people on TikTok that just stand there and they dance and, you know, they make stupid skits and they might be funny, but people aren't going to remember that, right? You help someone lose weight that's been struggling to lose weight, they're going to remember you. You help someone make money that was broke, they're going to remember you. So the number one thing is adding some form of value to their life, whether it be, you know, 1 or 2 of those examples, and there's plenty more out there. So that, and then 2, I would 100%, like, especially if I was a girl, I would do everything in my power for the next year, not even, if you're smart, a couple of months. Learn everything that you can about finance. Pick a niche, stocks, crypto, forex, whatever, and start posting content on that kind of stuff. Because in our industries, they are 99% male, right? So you are a smart girl, preferably hot, and you are dropping knowledge, your views are gonna skyrocket. And to monetize with like anything to do with money, anything finance, the monetization is so much stronger there. So, but no matter what it is, bro, fitness, stocks, forex, anything, you can monetize it. You just need to be smart about it. And so, like, the way I would go about doing that is create catchy content, create a cult. Because if you have a cult, that's the most important thing. They're gonna do whatever you say goes. So then you can approach brands and you can be like, look, these are the numbers that I have on X and Y. This is the engagement that I have. If I talk about your product, you are guaranteed to get at least 10,000 clicks to your website. You know, and reach out to brands. And also remember that we make the brands, right? Without us, without advertising, without marketing, the brands are nothing. The brands are absolutely nothing. So usually they'll lowball the fuck out of people, but at the end of the day, it's just not the case.
Yeah, and like talking about the woman example is very interesting because we had Irene Zhao on the podcast and she was really great at that, at building a following on Instagram and then moving into switching into crypto, kind of the same time as you, and like growing a big following and on Twitter. Yeah. She played the game really well. And talking about cult, like the other day, like it's a really good example with you because we were having this just coffee and then there's this dude like literally interrupting us for like 10 minutes. And the dude is not he's not a TikTok retard. He's like an entrepreneur who has multiple businesses here. And he's just like, oh man, I love your content. And then like, basically like he didn't even realize that I was there. It was just all like, and I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what's that? So you've been really good at that, actually creating or at least starting a sort of cult.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth it. I mean, stuff like that makes me like, really happy with what I've done because, like you say, this dude wasn't a sped. He had multiple businesses, definitely older than me, and he's asking like valid questions. So when you come across as, and like you say, he just pulls up and just starts chatting, and it's because I come across like it's so like comfortable online and so approachable. So you also don't want to be that dickhead, that no one wants to talk to or anything. You want people to be your friend because that way they'll actually feel like they are your friend.
But you can't be everyone's friend. Because at some point when you get a big following and everybody's hitting you up all the time, like it's for your mental health, it's just impossible.
Oh, 100%. So like even for me, my audience is legit 99% male. And it's because I talk about foul things and like, it is what it is. I end up meeting like a couple cool girls through social media, like the kind of girls that I'm interested in, right? Like, stay at home, cook and clean, have my kids and I'll do everything type girls. Like that my content kind of attracts. And some of them get it, but again, if a girl, like for example, the clip where I'm saying hoes and this and that, they're gonna see that short formatted clip on TikTok, whatever, and they're gonna be like, fuck this guy's a woman hater. When I actually love women, but I have a goal and I have a purpose, and at the end of the day, the best audience to have is young males. They are the ones that are spending the dough. So
maybe all this investment you're doing in social media, the biggest ROI will be to find that stay-at-home wife.
Exactly, bro.
In the future.
Exactly.
The best investment and return on investment ever.
Yeah, and I'll teach her how to edit my content and shit, and then I'll just sit there and slam it out.
You were born in South Africa? How the hell did you... Yeah.
Born in Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, but you're South African.
Yeah, so I grew up in South Africa pretty much my whole life.
How the hell did you end up in Dubai, living off content, saying a lot of shit out online?
So I ended up moving. South Africa, obviously, it's been deteriorating for a while, and I was fortunate enough. I never came, and I'll talk about this as well. I never came from money, but my parents were always well off, like always did okay. Like I never had to worry about where food was coming from or anything. And so we got a visa to the US, moved to the US. I went to school there, did all that kind of stuff. Now fast forward to the point they're not doing so hot anymore. Their businesses went under and everything. So I've been supporting myself since I was in college, since I got to that point where you grow up, and most parents will tell you we're not paying for you anymore to live with us, this and that. So went to the US, went to high school there, did a year and a half of college. It just wasn't for me. Again, like,
what do you study?
Business entrepreneurship.
What do you think about it?
It's the most useless degree out there, to be honest with you, because I believe that you are either born an entrepreneur or you're not. It's not something that you can really teach. And like I say, paying 50 grand a year and a dude's pulling up on a $20 electric scooter, and I'm sure, what the fuck? That's the same reason you don't get a fat trainer to teach you how to lose weight or work out.
The dude actually never left university because he went on to do a PhD and then just started to teach there. And so teaching you entrepreneurship. I remember in my master, we had an entrepreneurship class, and the woman who was there actually did a PhD in entrepreneurship, and that's the reason she was our teacher. And after we had this, I was a bit of a fucker like you, but like a bit less strong. But we had like an entire term, 12 classes on entrepreneurship, and at the very last minute of the last class, she asked, "Does anyone have a question?" And I just raised my hand and I said, "Do you really believe we can teach entrepreneurship?" And she had just like spent 3 months to teach us entrepreneurship. Everybody laughed and everything. Then she started, "Yeah, of course you can, blah, 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 because look at me, I've done a PhD in entrepreneurship, but like I worked for my family business." And I was like, that's me already.
Yeah, so like for me, like I find that crazy, like how you listening, those are not the people you want to end up like. So why are you listening to them? Like that's,
the same way people listen to young kids on social media today and think that these kids like mastered life.
I mean, I feel like that's why we end up doing well, right? Is because kids my age look at me and they're like, shit, I would love to live in Dubai, unemployed, on boats and driving G-Wagons. And, so it's like, yeah, I do have that. So like fair game. But yeah, so like I studied entrepreneurship, did about a year and a half, and it just wasn't for me. I was so excited to go to college. When I was in high school, if you had asked like my peers, who's going to be the frat douchebag, they would have said me. But I got to college and I just outgrew that partying and fucking around real quick, and just realized that I wanted to do more with my life. So then COVID hit. I worked out real quick, right? You're either a content consumer or a content creator. I said, let me become a content creator. And if it doesn't work, it is what it is. I'm just in the same position I started. So I texted my little brother because he was on TikTok. I didn't even have TikTok on my phone. I said, send me your 3 favorite fitness guys. He sent me 3 guys. I watched their content. I was like, oh, this is shit. We can do it. So then I went and bought some Psalms, some like performance enhancing drugs. I stopped drinking because I was an alcoholic.
So basically steroids.
Basically, so but untested and unregulated steroids, so even worse. And I mean, and I was a genuine alcoholic, like blacking out 4 days a week. So I put down the liquor, I stopped doing that, and I just started working out. And I got in crazy shape, crazy fast, and I started posting my journey. And the key thing that I told people was, I'm not here to like sell you a dream, tell you I'm this coach, you know, that I've got all the answers. I'm just showing you what I did to lose weight, how I lost weight, how I got jacked, what I do. And so that's literally, for me, that's the best way to approach things, because now you're never lying. You're never looking over your shoulder. You know, all these fake gurus and shit constantly watching their back because they know they've bullshitted. Like Bulmar, he's bullshitted. Now he's got nailed. Versus if you just said, oh yeah, you know, I bought Ethereum, this and that. You don't have to come in here with horseshit. You can just be straight up and straightforward, and people will respect that.
The real people will understand it directly. Same as people who really built a business, we understand, oh man, these dudes understand the game and the thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I just started with that, just started with fitness. I made good money. I was sponsored by few companies, like my dream supplement company that I always used to use. They ended up hitting me up, and I was like, this is so sick. Like, this is unbelievable. Did that for a bit, and then of course I'd already been in crypto for years. Like since I gave presentations on crypto in high school before anyone even knew what it was. Like that's how early it was. Here you can ask anyone, bro. We could ask our sound guy. He knows what Bitcoin is. Back when I started talking about it, no one had even heard of it. So even my investments teacher, this was the class we were in, he's sitting there and he's going, oh, I might buy some crypto. Like this sounds interesting. Yeah. So that's like how early I was with that. Started talking about it there. Then once I made it on social media and I had a name, I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Because again, I didn't get into crypto so much for the money. Of course, that was an aspect of it, but because I understood the message and I understand and I believe in Bitcoin. So I then started posting content about it on TikTok. And of course, I was a bit of a character. You know, I'm sitting there in a frat house with a popcorn ceiling, no shirt, talking about Bitcoin. That got put onto Twitter. And like you say, who's doing that on CT? No one. So it just started going. And like when I was 17, I interned a little bit with Charlie Shrem, who's one of like the OGs of Bitcoin, the founding father type thing. And when I first got posted on Twitter, people were like, you know, this kid's funny, but he's spastic. Charlie retweeted it and he was like, nah, like this kid is next up. And so that gained me, you know, I'll always be appreciative of that. That gained me like quite a like solidifying name, you know, like, oh, maybe this kid is with the shits. So, I mean, yeah. And then from there, I just kind of took it with every day. I try not to look too far into the future because it'll scare you. You know, you just need to have your end goal. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. But for me, if you just work towards it every day, you're delusional to think that you won't get there. Same way that you're delusional if you think that you're going to get somewhere without doing anything. It's not possible.
What's your end goal?
My end goal is for sure financial freedom forever. Like,
what does that mean?
I mean, it's hard to kind of tell because obviously I'm still 23 and, you know, with inflation and everything. But I'd say like I don't think I'll ever be satisfied, if I'm being real. I don't think anyone's ever satisfied. So, but for right now, like my number's 50 million. Give me 50 million, I'm chill. So that's more than enough for me, my family, generations, and, you know, all that. So, but like, you know, everyone that I've talked to that's ever successful, and same as me, my goal that I had previously, I've already hit it. But now I feel more empty than ever. Like I want to keep going, you know what I mean?
You're attracted to all this, I mean, you've done this steroid stuff, you've been drinking a lot, you're attracted to crypto, attracts a lot of kind of gambling addicts, people who are very addictive.
Yeah.
Do you think you have a very addictive personality?
Unbelievably addictive personality. So like I used to even be very heavily addicted to weed, like all day, every day. And one of the main reasons I didn't move to Dubai is because I thought I wasn't going to be able to get off it. And so funnily enough, the only way for me to get off it was to move to Dubai and have no choice. And now I feel better than ever, but definitely addictive guy for sure.
How do you balance addiction or having a very addictive personality with actually being performance in life?
Discipline. I don't think there's anything else to it other than discipline. You just got to want something better than you want that addiction. So like, again, for me, my biggest fear is being average. I know that if I just get hammered and I smoke weed and I fuck around, I know that I'll end up average. You're insane to think otherwise. So for me, yeah, that was hard, like withdrawals for weeks, tweaking, always thinking about it, but not as much as I think about being a bum. So you got to find out what like really drives you, what really pushes you, whatever your message is, and make that stronger than the addiction.
Is there one thing or specific event that happened that made you realize, man, I'm at the freaking rock bottom and I need to stop all this shit, or get my shit together?
So the thing is, I never even really got to rock bottom, and I don't think, you need to wait for rock bottom. But what ended up happening was I was smoking so much weed that it just started giving me like anxiety. Like when I was in high school, bro, I would go, lunchtime would come, we'd go to the car, take a couple of bong rips, walk into class, drop a presentation like it was nothing. Versus then how it ended up in the future, like I was tripping balls. Like I'd smoke and I couldn't go out in public. So I started noticing, especially like a common pattern with people that smoke, is that we don't think it's that bad for us, makes us creative, all this horse shit. And I genuinely did believe that while I was smoking, until I came off it. And after weeks, once it was out of my system, that I really feel like, oh wow, like my life was down bad. And it just, again, it wasn't like any traumatic event or anything that really happened, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out. If you're drinking and smoking all the time, it's probably not great for you,
Probably not.
Yeah, like it's probably not great. There's nothing good that's going to come out from that. People talk about, oh, but Joe Rogan smokes and Wiz Khalifa smokes. Yeah, and guess what? They're also worth 100 million. So don't chat that shit. If you're worth 100 million, you also do whatever you want. But you're not. You're living in a basement.
What's your key takeaway for people of your age today?
Key takeaway for people of my age is that we have unlimited opportunities. We're so young, and I feel like so many people are afraid of failing, but failure is guaranteed. It's 100% guaranteed. You are going to have to pay the price. It's the same as going to college. You have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that degree. But now you're left with a worthless degree. You might as well put that money towards a business, investing, whatever. And because for me, the upside is there. And we're young, we don't have families to take care of, we don't have kids at home and a wife and a mortgage that we have to pay. So like, you can fuck up. Like, it's more than okay to fuck up as long as you learn from it, because if you just keep going at it and you keep fucking digging, eventually you will hit your gold mine. It's insane to think that you won't. So for me, we have so much time. A lot of people also feel like they don't have time. Like, dog, like you early 20s, you have so much time, especially as a male. Women expire straight up, once they start hitting that 20, 28, 29, like you better be looking to settle down. Men, we just, we mature with age. We make more money, we become more wise, all that kind of stuff. So for me, time is our friend. You can afford fuck ups, and just, you also got so many people afraid of social media about what people are going to think. It's not going to matter when 10 years from now you're sitting with 20 million and you don't have a job and you get to do whatever you want. So take the leap of faith, for sure. You got to risk it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Appreciate you, bro.